Hey Planet Sewers, how y'all doing today? It's Mathletee. We're here in the franchise mode of my series. Oh god. Anyway, we are in Meeze, tropical Africa. There we are. So what I'm doing is making a blueprint of this wall here. Since they're all different gridded groups, I can't just merge them into scenery and move them together. So I'm going to make a blueprint. That way I can kind of duplicate this over here. That was my original plan, is I kind of wanted this side of the bears to kind of mirror what was going on the other side. But I have a different idea in mind for the inside. However, all of the animals are whining. So we're going to go take care of some animal things this episode. So I didn't want to leave that out, because these things do happen quite often. So they're complaining right now about hard shelter. And I'm not sure why. Maybe there's a couple more in there. I sold some because originally they were complaining about space. It is a little bit smaller of a space, so not too many can fit in there. So I think that's what I'm doing here, is looking, and yeah, we're gonna sell some. So binturongs, we're gonna filter it, and then I'm going to organize by maturity. You can't sell the babies if they're still juvenile. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to get rid of these, I think. Good grief, I can't talk, and my Texan is coming out. So we're going to release those. One of them stayed behind. That's okay. I probably bought it for cash, which is why I can't release it. So we'll just leave that one there. And I'm going to go ahead and add in some more hard shelter for them. This could just be a game glitch happening, that they're not able to get to the other side, but it showed they had climbing and plenty of space now that I've gotten rid of a few. But we'll go ahead and add in a little more hard shelter for them right here. So we're going to set this down and go ahead and duplicate it over. And then I'm going to use one of the climbing logs to support the other end. And we'll just put in a couple of those. I'm going to get the shorter one. The first one I picked is just a little too much. So there we go. We'll slide that out to the edge a little bit. Oh, too far. Sometimes the angle you're looking at, it's like, oh, that's great. And then you look at it from the other way, and it's not great. It's not okay. But anyway, so we're going to bring this one over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit play, see what it says. It is not registering as any more, probably because it is underneath. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you've been following along, thank you. I do appreciate you guys that watch the videos, and if you do like my content, please consider giving me a subscribe. I also do live streams as well on YouTube and Twitch, in case you didn't know that. Anyway, so I'm going to copy this over, and then we're going to put this down. And I can see it's going to be in the way. I'm kind of thinking about that here, of the little climbing rig I have that is also for my staff to get over this building here to service the other side. I do wish I could put in 2 entrances to habitats when I split them like this, instead of making sure that the staff can get over there. But I am glad we have a heat map for that, so at least I can see now where my staff can go and where they can't go. So I'm looking for binturong. There's one. All right, come here. Oh, I'm still in the group. All right, got him. So we're gonna hit H for the heat map, and I'm gonna, I guess, change which one I'm gonna grab, because I'm trying to see. It looks like maybe we've got an issue, and we did, with the climbing. So we're gonna fix that in a moment. And then it's saying they can't get to the forager here, so that is the staff traversable. And we're gonna get into that heat map. I guess I cut out the heat map for the, I don't know what I was doing. Who knows? Sometimes I get really distracted. Yeah, so they can only go over here. so the staff need more clearance. So I'm going to get rid of just a little section, and I guess somebody was thinking about using that, so we fixed it. Yay! Another thing that happens when I load into this zoo, I do have to go move certain climbing rigs. I really don't even move it. I just highlight, hit X, and then set it back down, or cancel out of it, and it re-registers those areas for those animals. So it happens in the binturong habitat as well as the sun bear habitat. So if that happens to you in your zoo, if you're using any of those blueprints, or if it just happens, you load in and it says there's not enough space and it's the climbing, generally there's just been a miscalculation or it's not registering. So I've duplicated that wall and put it down from the blueprint that I made. And originally I was gonna, I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna flip it around though, and we're gonna set that down. And I noticed when I did my walkthrough of the zoo, I forgot to change this to the Himalayan brown bear. That's what I chose to go in here. I think was the Himalayan, or did I pick grizzlies? I think it's the Himalayan. Anyway, and I'm doubting myself. I've already done everything for Himalayans. I'm gonna have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I picked. And I'm gonna duplicate this to look like the other side. That was my original idea. And then I guess this is where I say, the build builds itself. I have ideas, the game has different ideas, or it just doesn't work out the way I thought it would. So I did go around, and I was just, spinning. I was looking around, and we've caught somebody doing a bad thing. I don't know what that person did, but they just got evicted from my zoo. I have never witnessed that. I thought that was interesting. I was just waiting out this rain is really what I was doing. It was just, man. And so it finally kind of stopped raining, but it's still dark. So we're gonna add in some lights. Actually, no, it is still pouring down rain. So I decided I'll go ahead and add in lighting over here, since I didn't do that in the original build. So we're gonna put these here, and then I decide I wanna make sure these are all the same height, and I don't think that they are. Nope. So we're just gonna set this one kind of down where the other one is and get rid of that original one. There we go. And I'm gonna use this one as my height reference instead of just duplicating and free placing. So I'm just gonna use advanced move to go around. I realized I haven't put that door there yet, so we'll turn this the other way and we'll go put it on this one, since I haven't done the barrier and the entrance for the habitat over there. So while it's dark and it's raining, we'll go ahead and add in the lighting, trying to get that just on the wall there. You can free move these, but I'll lose the height. I don't have that good of steady hands. So for me, I'll use the advanced move and try to get it just right. It's a little hard to me, the symmetry and height matters more, I guess, than being flush against the wall. Your preference, how you want to do it. And this is how I like to do it. Oh no, somebody lost their balloon. I saw one flying away. Anyway, so we're gonna set this one right here, and that looks good. I was thinking about another one, but I really didn't see where to put it. Let's see, for footlights, that other one just looked way too big. So let's see how this looks. And so plop one down. And I think that's good. Just a nice gentle lighting. So I'm gonna go about every 3 or 4. Let me turn on my torch here so I can see what I'm doing. And there we go. Although it kind of messes up being able to see how the light is actually working. But I'm gonna go with about every 3 to 4 of these posts and go ahead and put a little light on the path here, so guests can see what they're doing while they're going through here, and hopefully they're not disturbing the animals too much. I didn't put any lights in the actual habitat. I generally don't. Oops, that's not where I want that. And on these, I am just setting them down. It would be way too difficult to use advanced move to get these just right. So I'll just do my best to kind of keep them the same height. And I'm gonna just do the same thing over here. About every 2 to 3 glass panels, I'm gonna put one down. And let's see, can't find, oh, well, whatever. You'll have enough. Just quit trying to use the same one. So I need to look into my work zones and probably rezone a couple of things. It looks like all my staff is trying to use the same break room. All right, so we're done with that. The sun finally came up, so we're going to go ahead and add in the Null Barrier, and I've got 15 degrees on here for some reason, so it's not going straight. It's kind of going wonky, so I'm just gonna move it. Here we go, and I'll set this one down right there because I'm gonna make that small so it doesn't really matter. Oop, not like that. There we go. I'll set that down there and drag it over. There we go. That way, when I put in the gate right there, it should just fit real nice. So I'm gonna put this one down over here, and then I'm just gonna go all the way around. I'll move all this later. It does get in the way a couple of times. So sometimes with null barriers, if the path is not already there, it may give you some errors trying to put things down because those barriers are in the way. So you got to move them. So I do move them out and back in. So I'm going to go ahead and close this off just like we have on the other side. And I'm going to get into this group and highlight all this, hit Control, and then get rid of the items I don't want. I just want the door and the staff only sign. And because these are, I guess, not perfectly centered, I don't know, it gave me some weird arrows, but I was still able to get it to work because it's not quite moving straight across, but that's okay. I'm gonna let that go when it comes to my need for symmetry. And there we go. Got it to just show those letters, and we'll set that down. Then we're gonna copy this one. I do have angle snap on, oops, wrong way, so that I can spin this on 45 degrees just twice. That way it flips it right around. And then we're gonna go in here and see how that looks. That looks pretty good. Go ahead and set it down. Sometimes when you do that, it's sticking out. All right, so we have some problems in the zoo. We're gonna fix them. I'm gonna show you how I solve these stress problems with the walk-in habitats. A lot of people are starting to come into the zoo, so my poor pangolins, they are very upset. So we're gonna give them some ambient speakers because I already have all the do not disturb signs, the do not feed signs. I had a really hard time getting a hold of that, so we cut out me going underground to grab it. I wanted to just duplicate it. I already set it for the ambient sound of, I think it was Asian forest. Thought that fit for the pangolins. So I just wanted to be able to duplicate that around and not have to reset it. So I'm looking at what other pangolins are complaining. So it looks like these are unhappy. So we're gonna drop this one a little lower. Maybe it being on top of the shelter is bothering them. Like they can't hear it. So the ambient speakers do work well, I guess, in drowning out the noises that the people make and make the animals that tend to be a little more shy, that are walk-in habitats, less stressed out. And then you do have the screening plants. A lot of them are called screening plant, or have screening in the name, but we have these common reeds. They're a good screening plant. And so I'm gonna put another grouping a little bit to just make them have a little hidey hole back there so guests can see in, but the pangolin feels like they can get in there and get covered up if they're back there. And then we still have this guy over there. He's running for his life. He is not happy. He says, I want to use this scratching post, but there's so many people, help. So anyway, I'm gonna put one over here because they have that they can go into to hide. I'm gonna go ahead and put one right back here on the back of this little post, so maybe that'll cover up the noises of the people. And then we're going to put one up here since the pangolin is covered, goes under that cover. And it finally gave me no complaints. So we're back over here. I've got the bears in, and I am attempting to get ready to fight the path system. So my idea here is I wanted to have something for the bears to swim in, because they're supposed to be able to deep dive. I believe these bears can. Watch, I picked another pair of bears that don't. So I do kind of redo some pathing. I was just getting that flat so I could get that out there. In the end, I don't need it because I'm about to ruin all my plans with this here. I should have, while I do this, before I put in the water, I should have just took out a side of this and put in a glass barrier so that you could see them swimming from the outside, where the viewing area is going to be on the path. But I didn't think about that idea until I had already done my underwater tunnel path. Once that happens, I would have had to back up to where there is no water in there and no path underneath it. And then I guess I could have just blown up, and maybe I'll do that next episode. I can blow up the path underneath, reseal it with some terrain, and then do that viewing with the glass on one side, and then put the water back and repath. But anyway, once you do an underwater tunnel, the water has to stay, because if you take it out and try to put it back in, it's going to give you errors. And then I'm making a terrain ramp for the bears using the advanced tool. How I made the pit was a sphere, the cylinder, and I picked a specific width, and then I changed it from plus to minus and brought down the shape by 2 meters in its width or radius or diameter, whatever it uses, so that it could create that wall for me. So I just hit X when I added, and then it'll hold you another one with that X. It's ready to go, and then you hit minus and it will do the work for you. You just got to change the dimension so that you're just a little bit inside. And I'm gonna go over here, and I'm doing the same thing with this. I just hit X and then rotate it how I want it. And on this side, I kind of get a little low. I have a hard time seeing the little 3D render of where it's going to be. I often misjudge where those squares are attaching to or where they're going. So if you mess up and it's too low, that's okay. You can just raise it up, put another one down. But I like to use the advanced move with these, because see right there, it looks like it attached. Did I get it on that one? Maybe it was the other side. Yeah, I got it. But anyway, I do struggle with visualizing that and how those are connecting. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I'm off by a square. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out a little bit. I'm using the flatten to surface right now, so I can kind of just brush it down, and then I'm going to hit smooth and kind of go up this so that it gives a nice ramp for them. And then right here, it just needs to be a little flatter. They weren't making it into the water, so I took it back out, and I'm gonna smooth that out again. And I'm hoping that when I put the water back in, it will, kind of just barely come up there. So I can see by checking my heat map that that's probably not gonna happen because of the edge. They're not quite able to get there. So I'm gonna flatten the surface, but a little bit down, so that when I put the water in, hopefully it gives them just enough to be able to get in. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side before I put water in, and hopefully this will work. And I think it does this time around. I tried a couple of different things. So right here is where I should have knocked out one side of this wall, just flattened the surface and put in a barrier, but I did not. Oh well. Anyway, so here we are, and I'm going to speed up all my attempts. So what I'm doing is I have tunneling on, and I just set down a piece, and I'm going down with the elevated length option at, I think it's at 0.5 meters, or maybe 1 meter. So I tried a couple of different starting spots. It never did quite get in, so then I just blew up the path instead of Control Z, so that each time I hit it, it would go down one more little notch, so I could find out where that depth is. There's a couple ways to do this. I could have put a board down and then terrain dug and then did the pathing. Oh, there it goes. So hopefully on this attempt, we're going to be able to be right in the sweet spot where it takes off the bottom of the water area, and it does. So success, yay! So I've got it on regular speed again. I'm going to get rid of the rails because those just look crazy. It's less to cover up later. I am going to put some walls and things down here, but we're not going to finish this build today. I really did struggle a lot because I just had a different idea in mind, and I used, I think, just too big of a path. But since we're so close to the entrance, I know that it's going to get pretty crowded, kind of like the binturong already is. I used that 4 meter path instead of a big one. I was really hoping this would just boom come out and attach, but no. I tried several different options to try to just get right there. This one took away the ramp, so I'm just speeding up all the different things I tried. And then I was like, well, what if it just goes straight down? I moved the barrier. I couldn't get it to do that. So ultimately, we're going to come out the back side over here, instead of connecting in where the sun bears are. They're just going to have to walk around. And I do have a idea over here. I'm going to put in, I've saved that space for a transport ride, and see, there's where I'm running into an issue with the barrier being in the way. So I'm going to add a post. I clicked on the actual post, so you got to make sure you click the whole section to add a post. So I'm going to set that down, and I'm going to just pull this away so I can get it out of my way. I think I ended up moving a little bit more, but for time, we don't need to see moving all the barriers out of the way, because I'm going to put them all back, and I'm going to move that tree in a minute. For right now, we're just going to make our way around here. I was trying to think, well, do I want to make a viewing section here or no? And I ultimately went with no. I want them to, walk down there, and hopefully they'll get to see a swimming bear, and then they'll come up around the other side and be able to see the bears. So I have a couple ideas. Let me know what you think. I know right there by the entrance, I'm going to put in a gondola station, and I'm thinking I might do the exit right there. I'll kind of put the gondola station where I was waving the tree for a second, have the queue be close to the entrance, and maybe the exit kind of in the space over here. I was also thinking about bringing the bear habitat this way, and letting them have that space. So since I don't finish the bear habitat this episode, please let me know what your ideas are, if you have any, what you think I should do to finish off this habitat. I'm still contemplating going back and putting in glass on the circular edges of this terrain thing that I built. It didn't quite come out how I thought it would, but I struggled so much just to get here, I just left it alone. I wasn't feeling changing it up. So right here, it's just like so close, and I don't want it to get all wonky on me. So I'm gonna bring that elevated to 1 meter, and I just keep going back up one until I can see where it's going to connect. So I do have tunneling still on, so right there. So now I'm gonna go up here and turn tunneling off, so it just kind of hovers a little bit. Oh, I need to put one more in. Actually, I'm gonna go turn off that elevation. There we go. So it should just land there, and boom, we're back on the ground. So we're gonna come around this way. But yeah, if I extend the bear habitat all the way out to the back, that's a pretty big bear habitat. I mean, I'm sure they'd love it, There's nothing wrong with a big bear habitat. But yeah, I'm not real sure what I want to do on that little kind of triangle space where the tunnel goes down and comes back up. I almost want to put a different habitat right there. But I don't want to do another bear right there. There's not enough room. So I don't know. I can think of a couple of things to do, but give me your ideas. And so we're gonna put this back. I took it out to fix it for sorry about the lag there. I don't know what was going on. But I took that out when I was trying to figure out the paths and trying to get it to meet with my original idea. I just didn't quite have enough space to execute what was in my mind. I probably, I could move it, but I kind of like how it turned out as far as its shape. It's different. It doesn't need to be how I originally envisioned, but it does give me different things I need to think about as we finish off kind of this entryway. I was also thinking I could make an official entrance right there in that space with the gondola. So you come in, there's a big entrance and a big gondola station, and it'll take you off to other parts of the zoo. So you'll go over the bears. But I've been kind of holding off on that gondola station just because I wanted to get a few more habitats in and a little more sections. So that way I'm not building around it as much. And they are expensive for franchise mode. A lot of times they are not very successful. They don't bring in a lot of funds, or you just barely break even. So I do want to make sure that the zoo is ready to support a gondola, because we're sitting at, let's see, 321,000. So we've got a good amount going. The zoo is pretty successful so far, but I don't want to tank it by putting in a transport ride too early. That can sometimes just kind of kill the zoo for a minute. You gotta be really careful, at least from my experience. Oh, and I need to put donation bins all through here. I haven't done that yet. I need their money. I gotta put all the donation bins for the sun bear habitat, and I'll need to put some over here. So Mathletee, don't forget, next time you load the zoo, I need to put in those things. My first franchise zoo, I made it quite far without a single donation bin, and then the zoo just started tanking when I put in polar bears, and I wasn't recovering, and I started Googling and looking at things, and I was watching a YouTube video, and they were talking about the donation bins, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's what's wrong. I have no donation bins. So I went around the zoo and plunked them all over the place, and it finally recovered. I got so lucky. But anyway, I didn't like how this kind of copied over. I was really trying to nudge them right next to each other to cover up that little bit of gap between these split sections. It just didn't work out. So I went ahead and took the left one off and just went with a solid piece. So I'm gonna grab this one, I'm gonna put it down here, and then it'll just cover up a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I'm gonna get rid of this one and put in a solid piece. But I think this one's on the wrong grid, is why it's not lining up as well. So I'm gonna exit the group. Yeah, it's not in the same group as the roof. So that, I think, is how those other ones are aligned. So we're gonna go back in there and we're gonna get rid of those. And then we're gonna go into the roof. Nope, we're gonna grab this one. Because originally they were on different grid sets, and there was a reason for that, but I don't need them, I don't think, to be in different grid sets anymore. Oh, yeah, it's not gonna quite fit, so I do have to go into the roof one, since those are just a little offset. And there we go. So those are issues you can run into when you start splitting things into their own grid. So there we go, got that in. And then let's see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, we'll go ahead and let people see through here and go this way. I should have put glass in here. That's okay. We'll go get that glass and just copy it over, and then we'll start coming around to the other side. And then we're going to do a tour of what I forgot last week. So we'll go look at the sun bears as a walkthrough. I had so many issues with that video last week. It was just so quirky. I lost files, they disappeared. I recorded, but I didn't record. I don't know what was going on in my little brain or my world that day. It was just a real struggle to finish that. So we'll do the walkthrough this time. So I'm gonna get these in. We're gonna put in a few more walls, and this was where I kind of needed to just step away from the build for a minute while I thought about how I wanted to complete this, since it didn't turn out how I had in my mind and wasn't working out the way I had envisioned it, and the build is kind of creating itself from this point, and that's okay, that happens. So we're gonna get a few more of these in, go ahead and make those their own group so I can advance move it and keep it on the edge of the path. If it's not in the grass itself, then guess we'll kind of glitch through it a little bit. Sometimes I get a little too close, and they're kind of like just through the barrier there. That's one issue if you decide to use these instead of the actual in-game barriers. One reason I do like to make custom barriers is they don't need maintenance the way the other ones do. So if you do use the in-game barriers, they deteriorate over time and your mechanics have to fix them. Whereas when you use construction pieces or rocks or other types of barriers with the Null Barrier, your mechanics don't have to fix them or maintain them. So I guess in theory you need less mechanics to keep your zoo functioning, and then you can get real creative too with how you want to do different things. So I've really started leaning into not using the game barriers itself and making my own fences or different ways of creating barriers or terrain. You can use terrain as barriers too. If you're good at doing terraforming, sometimes I can get it. Terraforming is not my expertise. I struggle with it. As you can see, this did not quite turn out the way I wanted, and that's okay. I probably should have put that water a little further away. Unfortunately, I can't build my path first and then, I guess I could have, and then stuck it down on top and then redone the path through there with tunneling. That's an idea. That wasn't the way I approached it though. Anyway, so I've noticed I've got a couple alerts again on my animals. I think most of them are for the bears. They are not happy with my lack of things for them. I haven't really messed with their habitat. I haven't done their terrain. They have no plants, and that's why the game is on pause right now. Early on, it is good to build not in pause, so that you can earn money and things are going on in the zoo. I do find sometimes it gets really frustrating because you get sidetracked with, like I did this episode, okay, what's wrong with the binturongs? What's wrong with the pangolins? So, you have different options there. You can apply contraceptives so you don't have to worry about overcrowding, but then you don't earn any credits or money through sale of the babies. So, up to you. Or then breeding potentially higher value animals in their appeal to attract guests. So we're gonna finish off this little section and getting ready to get into our little walkthrough of what we've got going on so far with the zoo. Let's see. Yeah, I was thinking about changing the grid, but then I decided not to. Every time I do, I get so mad at myself. So I'm gonna set all these down, and now I'm going to give them some nudges so I can get it off the path so my guests aren't walking through this section, since they ignore construction pieces, but animals do not. You only have to worry about climbers. If they are climbers, you cannot use any climbing things out there. They will glitch through. All right, so we're in Tejikam. So we're gonna take a quick walk through if this is your first time in the zoo, and also since I missed out on the sun bears last episode. So here we are with the red rough lemurs. I don't have their habitats on the workshop. If you do want them, they're pretty simple, but I don't mind putting it up. I do have the climbing rig here. I didn't push play for this walkthrough because I'm not done with the barriers. So here's their little water feature on those bears. So I didn't want anybody escaping. And so I just left it paused. And here we are with the Chinese pangolins. And there's one scurrying across the path. They have a nice little sleepy hut over there with some one-way glass, so they can go over there and hide. And that's their little private section that they can go to. And I put in these path covers because it rains. Trashy people. They're leaving trash everywhere and have trash cans. So what is their deal? But anyway, this zoo, it rains a lot. So this is also on the workshop. It can be changed in its colors. I was really going for my favorite, which is purple. I may come back and kind of change some of this up, but we'll take a look through here if you haven't seen it yet. So here is just my staff support. This is also on the workshop. It's one of the first things we built in this series. And so we're gonna run back out, go over here, la 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 la. I should have put in a big staff room. Ooh, I need a door there. I think I said that the last time I walked through there and forgot about it. And so here's Binturong Pass. So we kind of changed theme in the building to the concrete. And so we're gonna, wow, it is packed in here. All these people. Let's see. I don't see any binturongs on this side. So we'll go over here. Let's see. Binturongs. Where are you? Excuse me. Oh, there's one. So there's a little binturong. And we're gonna go up here. It is so packed in here. So you have a couple options now. They can go this direction to go into what will eventually have a gondola station and entrance into that bear habitat we're building. We're gonna walk around here. I need to fix some things over there. I'm noticing once you get ground level, things that look straight are not like those signs that we walk by. So here we are. Here is the sun bear exhibit. Unfortunately, they are not over here. They're not where you can see them. They're not in their water thing. And these bears do not deep dive. Maybe I should swap the bears, but oh well. This one came out really good. I really liked how this habitat came out. Oh, there's a baby one. So they're over here. Where's the parents? So there's the baby. Hello, little baby. Oh, we're just gonna walk in here. Oh, there they are. So there's mom and dad. They're up here. So they have, a nice little section to themselves right there. And then as you come out this way, so here's our new bear habitat. So you can either go left or right. So if you go left, that's going to take you back to the binturongs. And if you go right, it'll take you to the tunnel I'm going to work on. So we have a little food court over here. I think I'm needing a information booth because it rains so much. I don't have one over here. And that's where they buy umbrellas from. So I might add in one of those as you come out of that area. So there's the new bears. They're hanging out right there. And you can see them if you sit down and get your snack right there. And over here, this was where I originally wanted the path, so I could go like boom right under there. But no, game said no. It said all that's too close. So instead, we're gonna go around this way. So I'm thinking I could add, like right there to the right, a little info booth. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Anyway, so we come around this way. You'll be able to see into the bear habitat once it's finished. And then we're going to come down and you can get a view of our tunnel in progress. So here it is. And if you look straight up, let's look up. There's their little swimming surface. So they don't have a need for it, but they can. So why not? Plus I want to see if the diving, how that works. Hopefully I made this deep enough. So they've got this little section they can swim through. And then I wanted this again to just boom right back where you're looking at the sun bears. It didn't work out that way. So it actually brings you out over here. And this is where I'm thinking about maybe kind of shifting the real entrance to, which is right here. And with the gondola station, I've kind of got an idea in my mind for that. With maybe the exit, will drop you down kind of right over here. But I don't know what I want to put, right here. I'm thinking, bring the bear habitat over here, and the bears can kind of be here too, so you can see them as you go down the tunnel, or maybe put in a different kind of animal, maybe a walk-through habitat if you don't want to go down the tunnel. But I don't know what would fit. Let's walk through with my little what's going on over here. So, food for thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you have an opinion. And we're going to do a little aerial shot of the view too, of the view of the zoo. Ooh, that was hard to say. And then that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. And I do live stream as well. My schedule will be changing a little bit. I am going to begin working on Saturdays, so I won't be able to stream at my usual time, which was 9 a.m. Central. I'm thinking I'm going to go for 3 p.m. So anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a great week, and may the RNG odds be ever in your favor.